Welcome back to MVM. Today I am going to take a look at the first expansion to Shaolia Warring States, which is called Great Houses, and this is from Bad Comet. Now, we've actually covered Shaolia on this channel before. If you'd like to take a look at my previous overview that I did when the original game came out, you can. We also did a live stream of the game, which is still on our channel, so you can actually see the base game being played. And if you're very interested in learning more about that, take a look at those videos. But I am going to give you kind of a brief explanation of what Shaolia is before I jump into the expansion content. Now, this is a competitive game that can be played anywhere from 1v1 to a free-for-all with 4 players and any kind of game mode in between. In fact, there is a scenario guide included in the rulebook that has a variety of different setups, including one versus many. Now, the goal of the game is to dominate your opponents in one of 2 different ways, either by raising your culture track all the way to 18 points, or doing enough damage to defeat the enemy's palace. And you're going to do this through a unique method of buying cards and slowly building an engine as you add cards to your tableau, which represents this city here in front of you. Now, over time, you're going to be able to open up these unlocked slots, and you're going to be able to take buildings which come in 2 different levels. You have your level 1 buildings and a row of level 2 buildings. You're going to add those to your tableau, you're going to roll some dice, and you're going to try to trigger all of the different actions of your buildings. Every building is going to require a different kind of die and potentially a different number in order to activate that building and do an effect. These effects are going to generate resources and money for you, which can then be spent on other cards, or they're potentially going to directly attack your opponent and try to defeat their palace. They're also going to gain you that culture. Like I said, you can go all the way up to 18. Now, the game is going to continue in turn order with each player going through the phases until one of those objectives is met. Now, of course, there is a lot of different game modes, like I said, so each scenario could offer different game end conditions. It's also going to tell you how to build this deck, meaning which buildings you're going to bring in, and it's also going to tell you how to build out the market here. You'll see 2 tiles on the market that are variable, and these are going to change every game, as will your starting amount of money. For the game that I'm playing right now, I would draw 8 coins, and this would be my starting income. I can spend this income to purchase buildings. Now, of course, that's kind of all in regular Shaolia, but you're going to see a lot of other components out here on this table that are brand new, and this is from the Great Houses expansion. Of course, the first thing I want to mention is that there are a ton of new tiles that come in this game. You can have a bunch of new buildings, and you're going to see a variety of these out here just for you to kind of look at as I explain the game. You're going to basically choose buildings out of this to make your custom scenario, or you can play through one of the new scenarios that's included in the book. So there's some new options there for multiplayer play. With these new buildings come a bunch of new cool mechanics. For one, you're going to see a couple buildings like these mounted archers here and this chariot over here, which actually are going to cost money to use in addition to having to place a specific die. You're also going to see some, like this sacred tree right here, which counts as multiple different types, which can allow you to create combos and synergies with different buildings. So they obviously brought in some new content. Even if you don't play with the other expansion content, there's still enough here to kind of keep your game fresh. But there are 2 new mechanics that have been added into the game. The first one of those is quests. And you're going to see here that I've already set up a quest row here in front of me with 5 cards. Now, there are 2 types of different quests. You're going to see your one-time quest effects here, which require you to have a specific amount of something. For example, have 2 wonder cards in your hand, or to have 6 of the mineral resources in your hand. As soon as you have proven that you have completed that quest, you simply take that quest, place it in front of you, and then you reveal a new quest from the deck. Of course, there are also repeatable quests. You'll have some like this, which says activate a school. A new component for this game is little flags. You do have the first player flag still remaining, but every player is going to have their own little quest markers. When you come out here and try to complete one of these quests, for example, activate a school, I'll take one of my flags and place it on there to show that I have done that action once. Once one player has begun a quest chain, No other player can come in and take it. So the only way this is going to be removed is for me to come here and eventually do this action 3 times, in which case I will take my quest markers, I will take this, and I will replace it with a new card. Now, these quests can be turned in for gold, and you might have some scenario-specific goals that require you to have quests, but they actually interact directly with the other additional mechanic in this game, and that is the great houses. At every moment, you're going to have 4 great houses available from this deck of great house cards. Each one of these is going to act like a slot that can come out and sit beside your board and take a die to do an effect. However, you must complete quests to prove to these houses that you are worthy of their support. Each one of these is going to have a requirement of quests that you must turn in order to take that great house and place it in front of you. At that point, then, you're going to reveal a new one into the row. Now, like I said, these can be activated with dice, just like any of your other buildings. Of course, this one here happens to give me a passive bonus. So you'll see a variety of these great houses, kind of like you do with the buildings. And these are going to change up the gameplay and keep things a little fresh while basically giving you variable player powers that you can earn over the course of the game. So there's definitely some incentive to complete the quests. Of course, this is still going on while the back and forth is happening. You're still going to be basically drafting these buildings and building out your tableau over the course of the game in order to complete one of those 2 victory point conditions. Now, if that was all that the expansion had to offer, it's still a lot. You're still really changing up the gameplay here with all these new mechanics and all these new tiles that do a lot of new things. But you're probably here for the solo and cooperative mode. This is also something brand new that is being introduced here in Great Houses. There is going to be an AI-controlled opponent that you can actually battle to bring a completely different game mode. So let's do a little magic here and show you what that cooperative game mode looks like. Now we are ready to battle the Usurper. This is a, like I said, AI-controlled villain that can be played on either a normal or hard version. I'm playing with the normal side here, face up. Now you're going to notice that I removed the quests and the great houses from play. You're actually not going to use them in this mode, but you are instead going to place out the enemy board here with a deck of minion cards. And these minion cards are going to come in levels 1 and 2. So the game is going to get a little bit more progressively difficult as you go. Now your victory conditions remain the same. You must get to 18 culture or defeat the Usurper by, in this mode, doing 15 damage. Now, the Usurper is going to grow more powerful as the game progresses, but gameplay is actually kind of stays normal. You're going to do your turns normally, and the other player is going to get to do their turns as well, but they're a little bit different with the AI. First of all, every time you would go into your purchase phase where you can purchase new buildings to come out in front of you, the Usurper is going to grow more powerful. Every one of these cards is going to slide down, and you're going to get a new card revealed from the top. This is basically the army that they are sending at your walls. During the battle phase, after you as the player take your turn, the enemy is going to take their turn, and they're going to get to activate all of their cards in a row. Now they're going to attack you as your palace, but also your buildings. Now they won't attack your level 1 buildings or your characters, but they will focus on destroying your level 2 buildings, kind of to interrupt any kind of strategies you've got going and to stop you from getting that 18 culture. So they're going to target those buildings and destroy them. If there are no buildings or walls to destroy, then they're going to deal that damage back to the palace. If they ever deal enough damage to destroy your palace, then you lose the game. In addition, some of these minions are going to charge the Usurper's gauge. Every time it reaches a special trigger, something is going to happen. For instance, this is going to deal 2 damage, or it could deal 3 damage, or here it can deal 3 damage by ignoring defense cards and doing it directly to your buildings in your palace. When you get all the way to the end, you're going to reveal the last card, which is the special ability of that enemy. And in this case, it's going to deal 3 damage every round, and that cannot be defeated. You're going to return this back to the start, and it could possibly charge back up and deal those damages again. But like I said, every turn during that purchase phase, you're going to keep adding new cards, pushing the old cards down until eventually you get to some of the harder level 2 cards. Of course, these minions start to have more health. They also do more damage and have other effects. You're going to see some cards that say that they must be attacked first. That means before attacking another minion or attacking the Usurper, you actually have to deal with those minions. So this again is going to go back and forth following that turn order. However, it is going to change every turn. So you'll take this flag and actually give it to the AI. Now they're actually doing their actions first. They're going to do their purchase phase where they're going to get a new card before you do, and they're going to do their attack where they will deal damage to you before you do. So that could actually make or break things because they can deal damage to your buildings before you get a chance to respond. Now, that is the normal version of the Usurper. You can actually see on the back we have the harder version, which has a lot more minions already built into the board, which means if you defeat the minion that's on top, then you still have to deal with the minions that are there already. And also you're going to have a lot more abilities that trigger when this charge gauge reaches, and you're going to be doing a lot more damage. Now, this is the only villain that I have to play against here in this mode. Whether or not they come out with more villains, I'm not sure. That's actually maybe going to be stretch goals. You'll have to follow the Kickstarter campaign to see if they release more. I know I would like to see more of these, and of course this is ripe for expansions because you can keep bringing out more of these Usurpers. Again, all of this is included in the Great Houses expansion. So you're getting all of the new cards, you're getting the new gameplay modes, you're getting the new solo and cooperative mode fighting this Usurper, and of course you're getting those quests and Great Houses and everything else. So of course I've only been using prototypes here. I do have the deluxe edition of Shaolia with all of the wooden components, but of course everything else from the expansion is all prototype. So take a look at their Kickstarter page to see what all the final components look like. But thank you for taking a look at Shaolia Great Houses with me. Tell me which of these game modes you're most excited about. I'm very excited about finally getting to beat this Usurper because I have not been able to do so yet. But I think that a good co-op or a good solo mode should be difficult. So I'm looking forward to figuring out the strategies that I need to win this. I don't tend to play a very aggressive game, so maybe that needs to change. Thank you everyone for watching this look, and please like, subscribe, and follow all of our content, and I will see you next time.
Now, before you go, there's one more thing I want to talk about. I hate to bring this up, but YouTube analytics tells us to do this. So please click on the subscription button, ring the bell, watch our next video, rinse and repeat. Just keep doing that over and over and over and over.